O'clock. ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
Rady Children's Hospital is seeing an uptick in the number of kids hospitalized with a rare COVID-related condition. We're going to explore the sudden increase in those cases. Plus,
I stepped back and I saw all going down.
That woman watches a person in Encinitas get run over by a hit-and-run driver. What that woman did next to help the injured person until deputies tracked down the driver. And the parents of a young man found dead in Mission Trails fighting to build a bridge. It's an issue the city has been dealing with for a long time. The conversations that go back several years.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
And good evening, I'm Steve Atkinson. I'm joined remotely by my co-anchor, Lindsay Pena. We're going to be checking in with her shortly. But first, Blue Shield is vowing to speed up California's rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine after a sluggish start. As we have been reporting, thousands of San Diegans have run into problems signing up for an appointment. Well, now the health insurer is helping lead the state's vaccination campaign under a $15 million contract. And as our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner explains, Blue Shield is setting the bar high.
According to the new deal, Blue Shield is not supposed to profit from this agreement. A copy of the 55-page contract made public this week outlining the new vaccine distribution deal between Blue Shield of California and the state.
It's all around transparency. It's all about data mining. It's all about analytics. It's about performance payments, measurements. It's about working hand in gloves, not just with the counties, but working with our provider network.
At a press conference Tuesday in Los Angeles, Governor Gavin Newsom addressed Blue Shield's plan, which will build a statewide vaccine network and create an algorithm to determine where to send vaccines. Distribution of doses, though, is still dependent on supply from the federal government. According to the terms, Blue Shield will assist the state in allocating vaccines directly to providers to maximize distribution efficiency, having timely transparency into where the vaccines are and to whom they have been administered, and ensuring they are distributed to communities disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. When asked about any pushback at the local level from counties that have already made investments to ramp up distribution efforts, Governor Newsom said the Blue Shield contract will create a more efficient, faster, and equitable process across the state.
We are many parts but one body. 58 counties, 470 plus cities. Cities have issues with counties, counties with states across this country with supply constraints, federal issues, and the like. And so we're trying to streamline that. We're trying to organize that.
The goal is to give out 3 million shots weekly starting March 1st. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
Blue Shield responded to ABC 10 News that it is taking on this effort to do all it can to help overcome the pandemic. The full statement is on our website at 10news.com under this story. In the meantime, the Petco Park Vaccination Superstation is expected to reopen tomorrow. A delayed shipment of that Moderna vaccine forced it to close for 3 days. Anyone who was supposed to get their shot on those affected days will be automatically rescheduled. And we know there are a lot of questions and different experiences with the vaccine rollout. Our ABC 10 News in-depth team is committed to tracking down answers and sharing your stories. Just send us an email to tips@10news.com.
An alarming number of children are being rushed to Rady Children's Hospital with an illness that stems from COVID-19. ABC 10 News reporter Rena Nakano explains the dangers of MISSC.
While the coronavirus pandemic dominates the headlines, pediatricians worldwide are seeing a spike in another dangerous trend.
We're just, in the midst of MISSC.
MISSC stands for Multisystem Inflammatory Syndrome in Children. It's an inflammatory reaction to COVID affecting mostly school-aged children who 2 to 6 weeks prior got COVID themselves or were exposed to someone with COVID-19 in the household. Symptoms include
vomiting, diarrhea, red eyes, red lips, a rash throughout the body.
Dr. Adriana Tremolay says since last April, there have been 57 cases of MISSC at Rady Children's Hospital, but a majority of them were seen in the last 2 months. Timing-wise, she says it aligns exactly 2 to 6 weeks after the holiday COVID spike in adults.
So the heart is a pump, and it doesn't pump well in many of these children.
Children spend on average 5 to 9 days at Rady, many needing care at the ICU. Dr. Tremolay says MISSC predominantly affects Latino and African American children, but it's unknown if it's because there's a larger COVID rate among these demographics or if it's a genetic predisposition.
Latin America is seeing a lot of Latino children, of course, with MISSC, but they're also seeing a lot of COVID, whereas countries in Asia have also, of course, seen less COVID, but they're really not seeing MISSC at all.
Dr. Tremolay asks parents if they had or were exposed to COVID in recent weeks to be extra vigilant.
Using that barometer as a parent where you know that your child is ill more than they normally would be and to seek medical attention.
Rena Nakano, ABC 10 News.
The youngest MISSC patient at Rady Children's Hospital was 2 years old, and the oldest was in their teens. But there have been some cases nationwide where MISSC presents itself in young adults. And here are the latest numbers on the coronavirus for San Diego County. 698 new cases were reported today, bringing our total to more than 253,000. And there were 5 new deaths, bringing that total to 3,042.
I think we're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel, but at best, it's a start.
It's clear that COVID numbers are finally showing a significant drop all across the country, but that doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Experts say that a 4th wave of the virus is still possible, especially because of the newer COVID variants. Dr. Anthony Fauci says we need to keep up mask wearing and social distancing until enough people are vaccinated.
We've got to continue with the public health measures as much as, we've been doing it for a long time and people are fatigued with it. We've got to continue until we get it so low that it's no longer a threat.
Fauci says we'll need to continue those preventative measures for at least several more months.
With the second impeachment trial in the rearview mirror, President Biden is trying to focus the country now on his COVID relief plan. ABC's Mary Alice Parks explains how the president is trying to sell it to the American public.
President Biden is making his first official trip since his inauguration, engaging in a town hall in Wisconsin Tuesday night, ready to listen to residents' concerns.
His objective is really to make sure he is engaging directly with the people who are impacted by the pandemic or impacted by the economic downturn.
But the president is also on a sales tour, pushing the benefits of his $1.9 trillion COVID relief package. An ABC News Ipsos poll shows 67% of Americans approve of Biden's response to the corona pandemic, and nearly 9 out of 10 approving of his relief plan, too. But many Republicans in Congress say the proposal includes unnecessary line items. They argue they recently allocated $900 billion in funding that hasn't all gone out. The question now, will any Republicans come on board, or will Democrats move on their own?
The money should be focused. You don't just throw money against the wall and say, oh my gosh, we're going to show how much we care.
Louisiana's Republican lieutenant governor urging Congress to work together across the aisle.
Well, we need to get the money in the hands of the people, especially in the hospitality industry, that have suffered so much, and get it there quickly.
The reality is Americans are facing stark economic hardships. An estimated 1 in 5 renters behind on rent. In January, nearly 24 million American adults said sometimes they did not have enough to eat. Now, one of the major sticking points in the negotiation, still how much money should go to schools. Everyone eager to get schools safe, but also up and running with classes in person as soon as possible. Mary Alice Parks, ABC News, Washington.
And you can follow any developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
A driver is behind bars after a hit and run this morning in Encinitas that left one person seriously injured. This happened around 10:45 by the corner of Vulcan Avenue and West D Street near Moonlight Beach. Sheriff's deputies say the driver of a black Ford Fusion struck a pedestrian before crashing into a tree. The person driving jumped out and ran away from the scene. Our ABC 10 News breaking news tracker spoke to a witness who jumped into action to help the victim.
Stepped back and I saw all going down and I was like, oh my goodness. And then I started sprinting forward.
That victim was taken to the hospital. Their condition isn't known. That driver was later located and taken into custody. We're finding out more about the men killed in this crash caught on surveillance video in Escondido. It happened when a 13-year-old girl allegedly took her mom's car out for a joyride, tried to escape police, and crashed into bushes where the men were sleeping. Today, there's a growing memorial at that site. One visitor told us that even though she didn't know the men, it was important to pay tribute.
And I want, the children to see that you don't always know why somebody's homeless, but we need to treat them with respect. They're still human beings.
One of the men was Sofio Sotelo Torres. A family friend told us he was a kind man with a big heart. He could have stayed with relatives, but chose a life on the street. The other man was a friend, Mateo Salvador. That teenage driver is in the custody of her parents tonight. The family of a young man who died at Mission Trails Regional Park is fighting to get a bridge built over the water to improve safety. Max Lanai died while attempting to cross the San Diego River almost 3 weeks ago. ABC 10 News investigator Melissa Messiha looks into the bridge's history and found conversations about it go back about 10 years.
It's a pain Max Lanai's parents live with every day.
He and I were very, very close. We spoke every day, and we were incredibly close.
Max loved the outdoors. On January 29th, he went for a run at Mission Trails Regional Park. His body discovered in the water the next day, where his parents said he likely slipped and drowned. He was 21.
We told him every day that we loved him. He was the kind of, the rare 21-year-old who insisted on talking to us every day. And every call would end with, I love you. Let's talk tomorrow.
No more talks with their son, but Ben Lanai and Lori Yoler are talking to the city. They're devoting their time and finances to getting a bridge built in Max's memory.
It's unclear exactly how deep the water was when Max tried to cross, but this is a popular area for people to try to cross. As Max's parents tried to get a bridge built here, we did notice that there are no signs warning people about the dangers of the river.
Tuesday morning, there were dogs playing in the water and people crossing nearby. A bridge is in the master plan for Mission Trails, but Team 10 learned conversations about it are not new. Documents show as far back as 2010, a bridge was asked to be given a higher priority. It seemed money stalled any future project, according to minutes from the Citizens Advisory Committee. Summer 2011, a committee agenda shows one planner believed a cable suspension bridge seems feasible. By the end of 2011, momentum was lost due in part to a backlog of other projects. Ben and Lori have been in contact with new council member Raul Campillo. They feel conversations are transparent, however.
Do you feel like the city is taking your request seriously for a bridge?
It's not clear yet. Is the impetus of our son dying on that path going to make them move this forward?
In a statement to Team 10, a city spokesperson said bridge discussions will continue, but acknowledged factors like funding, infrastructure, and habitat play a role. The council member's office told Ben and Lori this could be an 8-figure project. That amount troubling to Max's parents, who are willing to donate a significant amount.
We're doing it to honor his memory because he was a avid hiker, runner, and outdoorsman. And we want to help others who have the same passion.
Melissa Messiha, ABC 10 News.
Max's parents will be presenting at the next Citizens Advisory Committee meeting next month.
Today, we are learning a suspected gunman died of apparent suicide following a SWAT standoff that lasted more than 16 hours. The man barricaded himself inside a home on Lyons Valley Road in Hamul and refused to come out. Deputies were responding after another man was shot. We're told that man is now in stable condition in the hospital. Just before 4:30 this morning, armed officers finally entered the home and found the man dead after shooting himself. A tragic ending, and a reminder, if you or anyone you know needs help or someone to call, you can call that number on your screen.